From Mooresville, Indiana. He drives the Daystar Directional Drilling, Edco General Contractors, Collision Concepts, BooyahDarts.com. 35, it's Zach Hampton.
All right, so shop's way different because this is now August. I've been meaning to do this for a while since we skipped it, but I was kind of waiting on some of the things that I'm going to show you guys. But we're going to put the seat in, and this is, you know, anytime a guy gets fired or runs a car one time, whatever. I mean, you can put it in reverse, and they do the same thing. I'd already taken the seat out, but I left the bolts in. And I'm going to show you guys a couple things. Well, first, Ultra Shield seat. Mine's used. Ollie's Elephant. But I just switched to these. Like I've had, you can see back there, like I've got 2 Butlers, but I'm switching all my stuff to Ultra Shield. And then I'm going to show Sharpley's knee guard, which honestly, I don't really use the knee guard. I mean, I put it in, but I don't need one because I'm so small. Like my knees can't hit the steering gear, but he's got a really nice deal on his. And then the biggest thing that like Sharpley started making, and then I've kind of helped get them a little bit better, is seat spacer like kits. And we'll kind of go over that. I've got my old spacers here so I can show you guys like the difference. But yeah, I think the first thing we're going to start with is the knee guard. So the coolest thing about his, most guys like this, I'll show you guys where this goes around. And then this like zip ties, and it's really, I don't know, crappy, and you end up cutting your wrist. Like if you try to get your arms in there to work on it, like you'll cut your wrist on zip ties and stuff. So you can actually just get, you know, like several of these, however many steering gears you have, and put them in. And then these are super easy to take in and out. Like if you're washing and you don't want to have this in, you can just take those out super easily. So before we put the clamp on, let's set that there. This shop is much smaller than what I'm used to. And everything's kind of a mess right now because it's actually Saturday. It's Friday of 360 Nationals. So like I'm kind of getting ready for Cappy and 410 Nationals. So I've kind of got a mess that I've made all morning and day. So right here on the side of these steering gears is actually a deal that helps keep it in the steering bracket. So you're just going to put this inside of that. So that's got a like a snap ring. So I'll show you guys me taking that snap ring off. All right, so we've just got this snap ring. And then as you can see, this is like a 3-prong deal. So actually when you put, you know, that in, it slides, whatever. So you just take that off, you slip that on, and you can put your, whatever you want to call that, kind of, I don't know, retainer in, snap ring. Push it in all the way around. All right, I think we're good. So we'll go to this side. And then I've put this thing in a few times, but not a bunch. So I'll probably struggle with it a little bit. But it's just 2 5/32 Allens that hold this on. I know a lot of guys shave off like that retainer deal. They don't really use it. Obviously, that would make this go in and out even quicker. But I don't know how that side is, like if it would fall off or not. It's just not something I really have to worry about putting in. I put them in when I can. It's not like a big deal for me since my knees can't really hit there anyways. So we're just going to get these started, maybe. Like the biggest thing that's nice about these is it's a little more work up front to put this clamp on versus like the other styles don't have a clamp. You just zip tie where the zoo soles are. Like you just run a zip tie through there. So it's kind of less work or like in the beginning or whatever, but this saves you a lot of work over time and it's just way nicer. So we'll put that there and I'll pop the Zeus's out so you guys can kind of see. We've got the bracket here. So I'm just going to hold, let's see if I can get that a little bit better angle. Basically, I'm just going to hold this up and kind of start a Zeus or two to kind of get, or just look at the holes and make sure that it's lined up before I tighten the clamp. Then I'm going to get it to where I feel like it's pretty straight. Kind of push it over to hold it off the master cylinder a little bit. Everyone's will be a little bit different, but I'm going to do that just so I have a little more room to get to the cap there. And then I'll hold that and take the Zeus out and just kind of let that hold itself. And then now I can come back and tighten these. So I don't know when exactly this video will come out. I know we're going to try to, I'd like to see if we can get it out before 410 Nationals. So like maybe Tuesday, hell, maybe even Wednesday. Mostly because I've been needing to do it for a while. Some of this stuff Sharply sent me a while back, and like Darren Pittman, who owns Ultra Shield, is going to help me out on like some belt stuff just to use their stuff, I guess, in this video. I use all their stuff already. Really, I just used this video as a way of getting a little bit of extra help on some of those things. So yeah, I think like I wanted to add some of this Sharply stuff just because I don't feel like there's a ton of people in this sport that like actually genuinely are trying to make it better. There certainly are. He's not the only one, but there's a lot of money grab stuff out there. So I think Dave does a really good job on a lot of that stuff and listens to feedback from drivers, and so does Darren. And so I just think they're the best products for it. And I needed to do, this kind of video anyways. So it just kind of all made sense. So we've got that in there. Actually, I need to give you guys a little bit better idea. So most guys would run these, especially in a midget. And it's to save like a taller guy. Like I was talking to Cole Macedo about it last night. Like their knees get into this, even in a sprint car. And some guys, like I know Cole Macedo's 6 foot something. Like he can't even hardly run a midget because it's too small. Whereas like a guy like me or Rico, I don't even need that in a midget because my knees just physically, unless I was out of my seat, can't ever hit that. So, but they're important and they help a lot of guys. So the next thing I'm going to show you guys is spacer kits. I think they're really good, especially for any driver that's like in and out of cars or constantly changing. I can't really get this camera angle great, but this is the kit, and there might be 1 or 2 things missing because I've kind of used them over time. Like you can see I've used these. These are the nicest part about this kit. Like instead of using a washer, or like I've seen these big machined washers, but there's not a big indent there. And so with that indent, whether you run a grade 8 bolt, which I usually do, somebody gave me like Stevie's whatever titanium one, but I need weight, so I usually run a grade 8. But either way, you're flush inside of there, so the bolt head doesn't ever, like you don't feel the bolt head. I mean, all of that is going to be in the insert anyways, like behind the insert. But it's just really nice, and it gives you a bigger surface area, and this isn't going to like warp like a washer will. So those are super, super nice. I ordered some for every car. The DGRD stuff I've been working on, like every car, every seat that's been in and out of those cars, like we've used these. The next thing is these, which is for there's actually 2 sizes. It'll probably be really hard for me to show, but like you can see this has a really fat edge, and this one's very narrow. So typically most cars, like the butt bar is a thicker one than the one up here. My cars are the same, like thickness, but those are for that part there. So when you order them, if you have like the same thickness, you can tell them that. This kit he sent me like a month or two ago was like the first kit he had got together. So I'll have to, my back ones are actually going to be my old spacers for this week or next week until I can get him to send me or trade me these ones for some more like this. And then the next thing, which is like the biggest we were waiting on for a while, these are angled because almost every seat, anyone who's put them in but would know this, but for the people who haven't, like it's angled here. So we had to get this machined a little bit bigger than the bolt so that you can kind of spin that. So depending on your seat, by spinning that, you can kind of just change the degree that the washer is. Like if that's 20 degrees, if you spun it halfway, it might be 12. So that was getting made for a long time, but he's doing these in all the full kits now, which is a really good addition. That was like the first thing when he sent me this kit was I wanted these to get made, and we finally found a way. And then you get two of, let me grab a tape measure because I don't actually even know what size all these are. I want to say this is an inch. Yeah, so you get 2 inch wide ones here, and then you get 4, I believe, 1/2 inch. So you get 4 1/2 inch ones, and then you get 4 1/4 inch ones. So between all those, like especially because this has got some thickness to it already, and then this has a little bit just in there. It's like an 1/8 inch, probably on both. You have everything. Like I have as big of spacers as anybody, and it has all the spacers I would need to put my seat in and gives me options. Like if I'm in a different car that maybe has a raised butt bar or has a forward A-frame, stuff like that. Like I'd have any option that I need. So there's really, really nice. I don't know the exact price, so I'd hate to put my foot in my mouth, but I'm assuming they're in the like $150 range. But you can order any of these pieces like a la carte from Dave. So super good. Like I said, I ordered like 20 of these. That's 4 for every seat, or 4 for every seat each car that DGRD has. And then I got a few extras so that we had them when we were like swapping seats and stuff. But all the cars have these in it. They're extremely nice. They save the seat from like the washer trying to pull through and bend in the seat. They're just a really nice deal to have. So I'll show you guys the spacers I had quickly because it's not really that important. But like all of mine were made. So you can see I have that grooved out. This is way thicker. It doesn't have to be. This is made out of Delrin though. So like that's to go around the butt bar, and then probably hard to see, but these are my bottom ones, and there's some angle there. But these, most guys don't have a mill and all the machinery or time to make these, nor should you have to. And then my back ones, it's also made out of Delrin, which is like a super, super hard plastic. That's it there. So you can see that angle on it, and those were like filed to my seats. But with obviously these Sharply kits, we're going to be able to make it a lot better. So like I said, I have to use these for the back for now because I only have 2 of the cone deals to here, which I guess I don't really need on the back because I don't currently run them. So we'll see how that works out. Maybe I can just not actually use that concaved deal, but I think you should use them. I think it's a little bit better. So another note, like just because we're here and I said I already had them in, I run all of Darren's Ultra Shield's armor belt ratchet, or like has a really nice loosening mechanism there, and then very, very nice ratchets, like by far the best ratchet belts that you can get. And also, I do not run one because I don't prefer it, but I know a lot of guys do. He has a sub belt that has like this thing on it, so a guy can tighten and loosen his sub belt, whereas usually you have to get it perfect and then it just stays stationary. But I know like that is very new that he just like started doing. But Garrett Williamson got a set for his Nationals car and was showing me him, and the sub belt deal is nice. I mean, I've just always done it that way, so like where it's in place. But yeah, like Pittman's been good. I actually get this part here is like a custom measurement for me because my torso's so short that if I run like the standard one, by the time I tighten this down, I have so much strap left and it's flapping around. So he's super good about catering, I guess, if you have some specific needs. So yeah, for me, most guys, we'll set this seat in. Most guys are gonna have to go in over the top because their seats are bigger, but mine's tiny, so I always just go in the side here. So there's definitely some advantages, I guess, to being small. So I was looking at them earlier, and I believe I'm gonna do a 1-inch spacer. I'm gonna try to hold these, but it looks, well, the cone fell off, but it looks like it's gonna be with the cone, it's gonna be about the exact same height. So we're gonna give that a try. So I've got these Stevie bolts that I had in the bottom of the seat, so I'm just gonna keep them down there. Here's actually a set, another set. They're identical, but you can see I've got like aircraft grade 8 grade 8 steel bolts. But these are nice, and I guess they're cool. So we'll just put them in. So this is gonna be really hard to make it where you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. But basically, I'm gonna have to like, it's easier with 2 people, but I'll probably put like my shoulder here and then use one arm to hold this up. And then I'll get the spacer set and put the bolts through. So I'm gonna try to get you like the camera a vantage point kind of from underneath. I'm just not, I don't know. Maybe if it's bad, you guys can just bitch in the comments and I'll not do anything about it. Because I already filmed this once and I'm not doing it again. Set our bolts in there, spacers right there. Have the fun. The one nice thing about making them is it's all one spacer, so I don't have to try to hold them together. But I think we're going to be okay. So we'll just start one at a time. Okay. This is going to be where it gets tricky. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to be better off. I'm going to slide the seat forward and then put all these on. And I think I can pick it all up. Oh yeah. Shit. Now I gotta spin the top piece. So I think that actually leaves me, I can't completely see. Come to this other side. I can't see if that spacer, the angled one's right, but if it is, which it is not, I was gonna say we're gonna be way higher up. I still think we are. So I can tell that like that's a little bit too much spacer, only because I have no bolt coming out the bottom. So what we'll do, so that's obviously a 1-inch spacer. And because the bolt's like flush, I probably only need a 1/4 inch of threads. I think the best thing to do is going to be get that out. Like I said, this is the first time I'm doing this, so we're going through it together. All right, so I grabbed a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch, and we're going to see if 3/4 is the right number. So let's get those all in. Just give it a little couple persuasion taps. Okay. Tap. All right, so we'll get this other one, and then we'll make sure that we've got those, the angled ones spun the correct direction. Okay, I got to take this side back off. I don't know if you guys can quite see it, but I actually put the angled spacer upside down. So like the flat part's at that, and it's got it in a bind. That's probably why I had to hit it. The fact that I had to hit that bolt probably should have told me I messed something up. But it's way more fun to just hit shit, I guess. So we got that out. I promise these are easier than I'm making them look. Slid in right in that time. All right, so I don't know what you guys can see. If you can see that little bit of a gap there is right now, that's because the backspacer's in. And once I talk with my hand, so like once I get the backspacers in and the seat comes forward, should be flush down there. So I'm gonna leave the nuts off of that for now. And then we're gonna see if we can't replicate these backspacers, which is gonna be probably a bit trickier just because these appear to be two different lengths. So one of them's labeled L, I know that. That must be the right. Okay, that's the left. So I'm thinking the 1 inch without is gonna be a tick too much. I'd rather have more bolt hanging out than less. So we're gonna go with the angled and a 1/2 and a 3/4 again, but we will not have that deal just because that's the wrong thing right now. So when I do go to this, I'll probably end up taking like the 1/4 inch one out because I'm guessing that's around a 1/4 thickness there. But I don't know. I'll just have to see when it comes to that. So we'll get our big washer deals back in, our bolts. Set that in the seat there. So I'm just going to push the seat forward. And then like I'll put this stuff in and then I'll try to get it to line up. These ones, I feel like all of my seats are like a little bit different. Like the hole just doesn't, because it's angled too far forward right now, like the bolt doesn't want to go straight. And I don't want to drill the hole out bigger, so yeah, that's good. That did not take too much. I feel like I'm going to have a ton of threads hanging out. I think I'm going to go with the 1 inch. I think I'm going to have plenty of bolt. It's not going to hurt being a little bit closer to the wheel. So, I'm not going to tighten that yet. Until we see for sure. But I'll leave you guys there. Go to this other side. Oh, I may have done myself a mischief here. I maybe needed to leave that really loose. We'll see if I can get these in. Just because now I can't move the seat forward. I think we're going to be okay. Yes, sir. All right. Get both of these angled. And I'll kind of show you guys. So this one's loose, so it won't look great right now. I'll show you guys again. But as you can see, like you guys probably can't tell, but it's not just my fingers spinning there. Like the whole thing is, which is really nice because I can change exactly what it needs. So now we'll tighten everything down. I like to start with the top, and then I tighten the bottom down to it. All right, so top ones are tight. Drop you guys back down a bit. Try to get, actually I'll just put you back over here again since it seems, or it is, a lot more open. Reach across to get that started. Hopefully you guys like the headers. I spent like 6 hours polishing them for nationals. I don't know why, I just felt like doing it. And they looked pretty sweet. Well, I spent 5 or 6 hours on Caleb Johnson's for 360 nationals because I work on those cars during the week, and they turned out sweet. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do mine. And so I've spent about 12 hours of my life just scotch-brighting headers till my arms fall off. It's been so fun. But they look cool, so it was, I guess, worth it. I probably couldn't be bothered to do something for 12 minutes that was actually productive, but racer logic, I guess. All right. So the seat is in, and those spacers all worked out really good, which I'm glad, because if you couldn't tell, I did not, like anything I do, plan super hard on this. Like, just, I don't know, I guess showed you guys how I went through it for the first time, and they came out really good. Those wedge deals are really nice. I'm glad I didn't have anything to do with them figuring out how to make those nice. I just more presented the problem, and Sharpley, and I don't know who he can give credit to or would if it was him, but it didn't really have a lot to do with me, really. So the other thing, like on the Ultra Shields, Sharp Advantage does all this foam, and like it can just come with the seat, or like for me, I get my seat inserts poured, which I'm going to show you guys, but because of that, I just get my seat completely bare, and then Sharpley does this, but mine are different. Like there's 2 levels of foam in there, and I changed the thickness of like the outer layer, which is really much softer than the inner one. It's to like make it so it slows you down gradually, and I run a bigger soft one than most guys. It's just a preference deal, but it's really, really nice. And like Sharpley will do anything that you ask them to, as long as it's safe. So then we've got our seat insert, which the seat's been sitting for a little bit, so knock the cobwebs off that. But they come in 2 pieces. The left side always much bigger than the right, and I think, if nothing else, this is the most important thing. that every race car driver should have is a specifically poured insert for them. Not only is it 10 times safer, but it is so much more comfortable. And they're really not that crazy expensive. And if you're not younger, like for a young kid that's in a micro or a midget that's still growing, it can be more expensive because you keep, like everything, you just outgrow it. But like for a guy like me, all my seats are going to be the same as this for the rest of my life. So once this is poured, they actually can start seeing them. So it's like, it's not $50, but like it's a lot cheaper than going and having one poured. They can just, I don't know how they do it, but they like, it's not a radar, but I don't know the technical term. They like scan the thing, and then a CNC makes them, and then he wraps them like that. So I know a lot of guys are on like that version of it because all their seats are the same. But he does really good stuff, and he's really good, like a really good person. And I think he's cares as much, if not more, than most people, as far as making everybody safe. And not that we can always be safe, but we can try to be safer. So yeah, I think I covered everything I feel like I needed to. These are really nice. The ones at DGRD, I don't know what brand they are, nor would I even say if I did, but they're the zip tie cut type. And like I'll go to take fuel lines off here, go to do something down there, and I'm constantly cutting myself. So these are just way nicer to have if it's something that you do run. The seat inserts, like I said, I think a seat insert is a must. It's worth the money. And I think the Ultra Shields are probably the best sprint car seats right now. Butler builds are still good, but I was on a free Butler deal for, I don't know, 10 years. And was one of the last ones on the Butler deal up until Brian Butler sold it. And I think he was the best, like as far as innovating and getting safer that this sport's ever had for seats. But ever since he's been gone, their seats haven't changed one bit. And they're not trying to make them better. So, I mean, you still see a few guys on them, but they used to have like 90% of the pit area, and now there's only a few. So, plus, I'd rather support somebody who's a sprint car racer like Pittman. So that's why I went to Ultra Shield seats. But the main thing I wanted to show you guys what it looked like. Put a seat in the car, since when we did the build video, I didn't put a seat in that. I don't even remember why. Oh, I had one in a Silver Crown car that I ran, and then I had one that was going to a midget for Chili Bowl. It was something like that. That's why I didn't do the seat part, but put that in reverse, and that's what guys do when they get fired. Obviously, everybody always jokes. Like, when a guy does get fired, or if they're joking about firing them, like, those are the 4 easiest bolts in a sprint car to take out, because it's very simple to take a seat out and put another one in. But yeah, hopefully that helps kind of, I guess, completely finish a sprint car build and show some of the driver safety side things that we all, look for. Obviously, I didn't get into helmets and head neck restraints because that's just not what this series was about. But I feel like I covered that stuff, how I covered, the rest of how I build a race car. Those are the headers. I'm going to show them off a little bit because I spent a lot of time. That's what Ollie did the entire time. Not a lot of help. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this. It's obviously, I think, a little bit shorter episode than the others. I don't know. I haven't checked. Maybe it's not. But, yeah,